I used to think that total independence was the ultimate shield, that if I built my life so entirely on my own terms, no one could ever touch me or manipulate my choices. And I paid for that belief in ways I never saw coming. Most of us who walk this path eventually face the exact same unwritten realities, stepping outside the noise only to find a very specific kind of silence waiting for us. I'm not here to give you a blueprint or sell you a tactical victory lap. I just want to walk you through the truths I wish someone had told me years ago, so you don't spend decades wondering why the room feels so cold. If you stay with me until the end, maybe you'll finally stop trying to fix what was never broken in you to begin with. Let's start from the beginning. Number 1. We tell ourselves that people will admire our self-sufficiency as a rare and respectable trait, giving us the freedom to move without needing anyone's permission. But eventually, that admiration curdles into a quiet, bitter resentment when they realize they can't use their praise to buy leverage over us. What's happening beneath the surface is simple. For most people, love and approval are strictly transactional. They give you praise because they expect compliance and access in return. When you can fix your own problems, carry your own weight, and sit comfortably in your own silence, you rob them of their only currency. People don't actually hate our independence. They hate that our independence renders their opinions completely useless. Your calm composure makes people feel quietly judged, and they will never ever admit that to your face. And that never really goes away. Most Sigmas spend years running back through old conversations, trying to figure out what they did wrong to lose people, never realizing that their most respected trait was the one thing others could never forgive. It's a heavy, lingering realization that leads straight into the second truth. Number 2. We assume the people closest to us are quietly rooting for our silent wins because we built ourselves without ever asking them for a handout. Then we start noticing the muted reactions to our good news, or those subtle, unsolicited warnings about how easily everything could fall apart. That's when you realize they aren't celebrating your growth. They are quietly waiting for you to stumble. Our quiet evolution breaks the unwritten power balance in the room. When we build a life without complaining or seeking validation, it creates a subtle, aching mirror that exposes everyone else's lack of execution. And the worst part, you can't unsee it once you've lived it. You start protecting your good news as carefully as your bad news. Most of us end up watching our circle shrink to almost nothing, carrying the quiet grief of realizing that the people we loved were only comfortable with us as long as we stayed down on their level. Number 3. We view continuous self-improvement as the only way to level up our minds and secure true autonomy over our own lives. But the further we travel down that road, the more we realize that growth is a currency paid for using the people we used to be closest to. Most people rely on the safety of the herd and prefer predictable comfort over the brutal, exhausting grind of inner evolution. When we change, the shared ground disappears entirely, shattering their expectations of who we are supposed to be. We aren't leaving them behind out of arrogance. Our minds have simply evolved into a shape that no longer fits into their world. Every single level of real mastery costs us a few more connections, and the cost of that is relentless. Most Sigmas spend years slowing down their own execution, deliberately holding themselves back just to keep insecure people from drifting away, only to end up completely exhausted and utterly alone anyway. Number 4. We tell ourselves that our ability to read a room in seconds and catch the lie in someone's voice is a blessing, the burden of seeing too clearly. But the exact same engine that grants us that sharpness is the one that refuses to shut off, turning our rest into a high-speed audit of every interaction we had that week. Silent observation isn't a switch we get to flip. It is the permanent, exhausting way we are wired. Where others see simple small talk, we see hidden motives, underlying insecurities, and subtle manipulations we never asked to analyze. You cannot out-discipline a nervous system that was built to stay hypervigilant. The insight we carry is inextricably tied to the curse of a mind that simply will not let us sit in peace. If we ignore the toll this takes, that sharpness eventually turns into a heavy, permanent emotional flatness and low-grade burnout that no amount of solitude can clean off. Most Sigmas never fully recover from that realization. Number 5. We build a habit of calculated silence to protect our peace, choosing to move in the dark while everyone else broadcasts their intentions to the world. Then we realize that when we refuse to supply a story, the crowd will invent the most malicious versions of our lives just to fill the vacuum we left behind. The human brain deeply fears what it cannot predict or control. Because our self-sufficiency reminds people of everything they aren't, they label us as cold, arrogant, or scheming, anything to justify their own internal discomfort. People prefer the loud, predictable posturing of a man they can manage over the unreadable, quiet certainty of someone they can't. And most of us waste years trying to fix this, exhausting ourselves defending against stories we never even told before realizing it was never broken. It was just expensive. So we learn to let them guess, carrying the heavy weight of being misjudged by people who never really saw us at all. Number 6. We build walls and cultivate strict emotional discipline, thinking we are protecting our hearts from betrayal and eliminating their leverage over us. Then we look up one day and discover that the same armor engineered to keep out manipulation has hardened so much that it seals off genuine connection. Hyperindependence is a survival mechanism, a deep, ingrained belief that needing anyone else is an immediate vulnerability. Over time, those defenses execute so automatically that they tackle our own desire for intimacy long before it ever reaches the surface. We haven't just guarded our lives, we built a fortress so secure we literally forgot where the door was. And the price of freedom is paid in those quiet, heavy hours where you realize your strategic privacy has slowly tipped over into a solitary confinement you constructed with your own hands. You carry the aching realization that you became your own safe place, but you built it entirely alone. Number 7. After all of it, the loss, the silence, the nights you wondered if you chose wrong, most Sigmas still come to the same quiet conclusion. We realize that living on our own terms costs us safety nets, predictability, and sometimes the simple comfort of being understood. Being your own final authority is the weight of the path, and it gets brutally cold living where no one is coming to save you. You will face your heaviest internal battles in complete isolation, rebuilding yourself from broken pieces with zero applause waiting at the finish line. That's not a victory speech. That's just the truth of how we are wired. And if you're still standing after everything it cost you, you already know exactly what I mean. Your strength was never built on their applause. It was forged in your silence, refined by your discipline, and anchored in an internal authority that no external storm can ever break. Own the path. Master the game. Move forward with certainty.